Welcome to another edition of Marketing Unleashed. As always, we are so glad that you guys are here. Make sure that as you see this, that you sprinkle the love across the interwebs, share it with all your friends. And also, we're going to be talking about some really cool stuff. We have an incredible guest for today. And make sure you mention your friends. Like, even if they can't watch it live, mention them, call them in, let them know what we're talking about, because I think you guys are going to find that this is an awesome, great show. But first, who is this person? And what are you doing here? What's going on? Just kidding. Susan is a senior marketing manager here at Tailwind. She has been around the show for a while, and she has tons of experience in marketing. And Tailwind has made some changes in its team, and as part of that, different marketers from Tailwind were going to be coming on here as hosts. So it's going to be so exciting.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Jeff. We are definitely excited at Tailwind about talking to you and this super fun audience. But we're definitely going to miss having Elisa here every week. She is an amazing host and an amazing marketer. In fact, she helped connect us with our guest for this week, John Jantsch.
Yes, and so next week, we're going to have somebody else from Tailwind to host, and there's a rumor going on that we might even have some special appearances from an engineer or two. I hear that one of them is going viral on TikTok in his spare time.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Tailwind engineering team. Shout out to those guys and girls there. I think they're going to be on today. If you want to read all about how to go viral on TikTok, starring our very own engineer from Tailwind, whose handle is at Pie Supplies, you can read all about it in the blog post. And there's a link there where you can follow to get to it. So it's Tailwind for TikTok. Read all about it. Yes. But now we're going to set TikTok aside and jump into customer journeys with John. Oh,
yeah, I want to do some shout outs from our friends here in the comments. We've got our friend Tim saying, shout out to Tailwind. Tim, thank you so much for being here. We have our friend Trona, thank you for stopping by today. We've got Melissa going, hey, yay, Susan. So we've got some friends, and of course, Carrie Ray, who is love her to death. Thank you, Carrie, for stopping by today. This is going to be a fun show. You guys are going to love it. I wanted to tease this stuff. We've got a little bit of things at the end of the show today. We've got a new feature that we're going to be teasing that Susan's going to walk us through from Tailwind. So you guys want to make sure that you stick around to the end of the show. But we want to welcome our special guest right now. And that, I'll let you do that, Susan, because he's hiding in the wings. But I'll bring him on. Boom, just like that.
There he is, guest appearing from out of space. Yeah, so John Jantsch, welcome to Marketing Unleashed, the Tailwind Facebook Live.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I'm excited.
Yes,
you're glad you're here. John, I'm a huge fan. He is a marketing consultant, a speaker, a best-selling author of books like Duct Tape Marketing, The Referral Engine, The Self-Reliant Entrepreneur, and now The Ultimate Marketing Engine. He's also the founder of Duct Tape Marketing Consultant Network. And I think Duct Tape Marketing might be the most brilliant name for a company I've ever heard. So I love that. And I also love John's approach to marketing and teaching others to do marketing. What I find especially appealing about it is his systematic approach. He's able to take complex things, break them down into an understandable pattern that other people can follow. And I think we'll hear more about that today. His most recent book is called The Ultimate Marketing Engine, and it reflects years of work as a marketer, helping others to learn marketing. And even better, it's a fresh take on how to identify and nurture your best fit customers.
Yes. And by the way, we've got some people who are, they're already fans, John. So it's like, Rhonda says, Duct Tape Marketing is a must read for small businesses. And Kristen says, Duct Tape Marketing sounds a lot like my life, to be honest. So we've got a lot of people. By the way, we are streaming this as well over on Amazon Live. And I have all of John's books listed. So make sure you check them out. We're going to be teasing his new book throughout the day today. But you can go to this bit.ly link to his landing page. It's bit.ly/get John's book. And I wanted to say that out loud for the podcast listeners. So it's bit.ly/get John's book. So go check that out. So with that, John, you have this new book coming out. So tell us about it. You're this best-selling author. You know, you're respected across the board in marketing. What can readers look forward to in the Ultimate Marketing Engine? Oh, you're muted, John.
Well, I think more than anything else, it's a bit of an update on No, I think I'm just slowing down now.
Okay, you're good.
We ready?
Yeah.
All good. Okay. So Duct Tape Marketing, thanks for the shout outs, folks, but came out in 2007. I have continued to practice marketing every single day since then, and a lot's changed. A lot has evolved. And the last year, of course, a ton has changed. The last decade, a lot has changed. And so this, in a lot of ways, is a bit of an evolution of my thinking and my experience and my learnings over the last 10 years. Because I think that even though we like to talk about new platforms and changes and all the things that have come along in marketing, I think the most significant thing that's changed in marketing is the way people today choose to become customers. And I think the last year, nobody wants to hear about how to market in a time of COVID, but there's no question that the last year shone a very bright light on one thing. I saw it in my customers. Some of them were in the wrong place at the wrong time, really had a tough time. But I also saw some of my customers not only survive, but thrive in the last 18 months. And when I really looked at the difference, what I saw was that I think in good times, a lot of businesses can benefit from just being in the right place at the right time. But I think in tough times, we see that, and this has always been true, but that businesses can survive and thrive by being meaningful in some way to the customers that they serve. I mean, I saw some of my customers where people were reaching out saying, hey, I know you got to shut down. You got to tell your employees to stay home, but we're with you. I don't care that you canceled our project or that you can't get to us for a while. We want you to be around. We want you to survive. And to me, that was, as I said, it's always been true, but to me, that just shone such a light on how we have to start thinking about our customers today more than ever. And that's a great deal of what I put in this book. I actually can sum the whole book up. I say that the ultimate marketing engine is a successful customer. So what if we started thinking about our customers, not necessarily for the transaction that we can get, but for the transformation that we might actually be able to create in their lives or in their businesses? What would that change about everything that we do?
That's great. Is there something you mentioned? You noticed the ones that survived during this COVID times, and I know in different parts of the country we've been coming out of it, then some of it feels like we're going back into it. Is there? Do you have any specific examples of companies that you thought like, oh my gosh, they did that so well during this time and really were able to connect with their customers?
Yeah. Well, so much of the behavior about how we served our customers, about the customer journey that we're going to talk about today, was forced to change. It wasn't a matter of, oh, here's a new innovation. It was like change or die, kind of.
Right.
That was probably too graphic, right. But it was, people talk about pivoting and things. Well, the companies that I think had a little more of that in their DNA, that they tried new things, that they were constantly keeping close to their customers and finding out what they really wanted rather than forcing them into some marketing automation loop. I think those were the companies that actually had the easiest time, making that change. I mean, we all think about the restaurants and right. Businesses where they had to really change their entire model. Well, the ones that actually had already embraced that were already more online. It was just much easier for them to change. But I would say the overriding thing that I saw was it was how close were you to your customers? That to me made it easier. Not only did you probably have a better relationship, it made it easier to understand what would be the way to serve them now. And I think it also made the customer maybe more understanding of the fact that nobody knows how to do anything anymore. Let's make this up together.
Gotcha.
It's really interesting when you talk about kind of knowing what your customers are experiencing and tracking with that. How do you do that? How do you stay focused on what your customers are experiencing? What are some of the practical ways that you do that?
Well, here's a massive, mind-blowing approach. Actually talk to them. I know, cynical sounding, right? But it's amazing how few businesses take the time to intentionally and routinely, not just as a project, but intentionally and routinely talk to their customers on a quarterly basis. And it doesn't have to be all of them, but just some percentage of your customers, just finding out what's going on in their world, finding out what's working, what's not working, maybe even reviewing processes. I mean, where I see some of the biggest places where people fall down in the customer journey is the typical handoffs. Sales got the order. I'm out of here, done, right? And what happens then? So having some conversations about what it's like to experience your business, what it is they need to hear, what it is they aren't getting. I mean, that sometimes can lead to nothing, but I think in most cases can lead to you finding and exposing gaps. I had somebody that I finally talked into saying, look, we're redoing you're redoing your website. Let's have a few customers look at it and see if they can do what we want them to do. I know that's marketing 101, but it was so painfully clear to them that the customer couldn't figure out the action that they wanted them to take. They wanted them to subscribe to something that wasn't intuitive. And I just think we can go through years without a customer actually voluntarily saying, I can't figure out how to subscribe. And yet we're missing the opportunities because we don't run that by. I mean, we design these things on a 42-inch screen, and we know how everything works, and we know what the intention was. Well, a lot of our customers are looking at it on a 4-inch screen or smaller, and they don't have the same background. So just taking the time to stay as close to your customer as possible.
That's awesome.
It's interesting, right? I'm sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
No, I was going to just say we have a lot of people who are agreeing with you, Sarah, saying communication with the customer is key. And Rocky says, thanks, Rocky, for stopping by again. He says, absolutely agree. That is so important. And go ahead and ask your questions, Susan. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I wanted to bring those up, though.
Oh, I was just thinking about, when you write something, for me, I will usually walk away from it and then come back to it to see if it actually says what I think it does. And I think that's really important with our products and our marketing, that we take a step away and let all those things that we've got this, I guess, visual memory for, or some kind of working memory about what we want to have happen, and try it again with fresh eyes. Because it's easy to think.
I will so second that, Susan, because I mean, how many times have you come back to that document and you're like, that's not what I was going for at all. I mean, but under the deadline of trying to get it out, sometimes it's like, well, that works. I'll just keep going. Great advice. Sit on it for a day before you ever hit send if you can.
Right. And I like the screens idea because we talk about Pinterest a lot, is a lot of times people will design these amazing pins on Photoshop on their website, but then they get them on their phone and they can't read it. You can't read the font's too squirrely or something. And anyway, everybody here knows how I feel about squiggly fonts. So, but we've talked about this customer journey. So let's kind of pull back a little.
Comic Sans for me.
Yeah, Comic Sans. That's right.
No.
Every designer in our group just cried a little bit, a little tear came down their cheek. So let's pull back a little bit and talk about this. We've talked about the customer journey. So let's define it like it is traditionally, and then you have talked about how we should redefine it. So let's take it for like the bird's eye view for people who work like, what does that term even mean? And then how we should redefine it.
Well, fortunately, I can say that the term customer journey over the last 7, 8, 9 years, if you look at Google Trends, is finally sort of eclipsing the marketing funnel, which in a lot of ways the concept is replacing. Everybody's familiar with the marketing funnel. It's still in Kotler if you're just fresh out of university, we get some portion of people at the top of that and we squeeze a few out down in the bottom, and then marketing's job is done. Well, I think that this evolution of something called the customer journey is a little more inclusive, that says, hey, once somebody becomes a customer, that's maybe when the work starts. How can we intentionally create a better customer experience? How can we intentionally be focused on retention? How can we maybe even intentionally on getting 100% of our customers to refer business to us? I have been using a tool for the last 15 years I call the marketing Hourglass, which borrows the funnel metaphor at the top, but then flip that funnel over to get the hourglass shape. And at that point, we go to work on also intentionally creating processes and campaigns and even content that is going to actually drive or guide people to staying as a customer or to buying more or as to referring us. My marketing Hourglass has 7 stages. They are know, like, trust, try, buy, repeat, and refer. And I intentionally use terms that I think are more like behaviors, because I think that the days of creating demand and pushing it through the funnel are over. A lot of the steps in the customer journey are actually out of our control. And I think that our job now is more about organizing behavior. So I it's easy to use your own buying, I think, to sort of validate that idea. We want to come to know about companies that if we have a problem, they can solve our problem. We start checking them out a little bit. We're going to make snap decisions about whether or not we like what they're saying, we like the experience. Certainly, we are probably not going to make a purchase unless we trust that they're going to deliver what they promise, or that other people at least trust them to deliver. I love it when I can try what it might be like to work with a company. And that's not just a SaaS 30-day trial. I mean, picking up a phone and talking to somebody, filling out a form is actually a way that we start trying the businesses that we are going to engage and hire. And then, of course, so many of us have been let down at the point when we say yes. So how do we keep that buyer's remorse away? What are we doing to intentionally keep the experience high? And then, of course, the retention and the buy again. I mean, if I find somebody that solves my problems, I don't go looking around every time I need that again. I just go back to them. And I think as human beings, we're wired to talk about companies that exceed our expectations, that surprise us. And so it's no surprise to me that 81% of small businesses claim that 50% of their business comes by way of referral or word of mouth, and yet none of them are doing anything about it intentionally. So my idea is that this whole framework can become the strategy for your business. It can become the strategy certainly for your content and all of your decisions about what platforms you might need to be on.
Gotcha. So
I think we should do a quiz. So let's just try it. 7 stages. I've got 3, maybe.
Okay.
So let's try it out in the comments. Know, like, trust.
Yep.
Try, buy, repeat. I didn't get
And
all
refer.
of them. What's
Try,
and
buy, repeat, and refer.
Okay.
yeah.
See, that's the one
like
everybody
it.
forgets, Susan. Well, so, and if you think about
I mean,
it, know,
I'm
like, and
making
trust.
your point right now.
You are making no, like, and trust line up with traditional marketing activities. That's really the job of marketing, is establishing enough trust that somebody wants to give us their money. Sales typically is the try and buy phases, and then service quite often is going to be the reason that you retain or repeat business. And generally speaking, quite often it's the reason somebody refers you. So it's a great way to align what are sometimes some at odds departments in organizations too.
Yeah. So we've got some great comments. Trona says, I just used John Hourglass in my article the other day. And Melissa says the marketing Hourglass is a great alternative to what we tend to think of as a marketing funnel. So smart. Awesome, Melissa. And then this for Robana, says processes are her weakness. And so I know in Duct Tape Marketing, you talked a lot about the importance of having a marketing strategy, not just tactics. And, small business owners, they're doing too much already. It's hard to pick what to do. And, everybody wants to jump on what's hot. Oh, we have to be on TikTok because everyone's saying we have to be on TikTok now. So what do you say, what would you tell these small businesses who are just like, John, I get what you're saying. I'm struggling with what to do first. What do you tell people that way?
Well, if they're struggling to pay the bills, I tell them, let's figure out a way to generate some business. Right. But if I'm really going to help them in the long term, I say, let's take a look at the top 20% of your client base today. Let's figure out everything we can about them. Why are they profitable? That's why they're in the top 20%. Why are they having a great experience? They're referring you. What are the common characteristics of this group? Because I talked about this idea of the ultimate marketing engine being a successful customer. One of the things we have to realize is we can't make everyone successful. And that's what drives us crazy. I mean, we are trying to work with, and what we actually do is we actually have folks rank their customers by profitability. It's very eye-opening in many cases because they do immediately spot some trends in their best customers. And they also immediately spot some trends in their worst customers and ones that aren't profitable necessarily, maybe even are detractors that are creating a real drag on the opportunity cost of actually serving your best customers. So we figure out every characteristic we can about those ideal customers. Now, one of the goals in doing this is let's go out and find more like that. But that's only half of the goal. The other half of the goal is that experience has shown me time and time again that some percentage of that top 20% would do 10 times business with you if you showed them how, if you gave them the opportunity. And then an even smaller percentage of that group might do 100 times more business with you if you focused on serving them like nobody else ever thought of serving them. I introduced in this in the Ultimate Marketing Engine something I call the customer success track. And basically, it's an approach that says, how can we take our customers from where they are today, the stage they're in today when they come to us usually, to where they want to ultimately be? It doesn't matter what we sell necessarily today. How could we grow and scale with our best customers? And we actually have a whole process for mapping out stages, the characteristics in those stages, the challenges in those stages, and ultimately the milestones it would take to move somebody, to move somebody to the next stage. And it can be a tremendously powerful way to create an overarching strategy for your business once you understand those customers you can make successful, those customers you can deliver the most value to.
Awesome. So, Susan, I'll let you ask questions because I'll geek out with John here and just ask all of them because, it's like my own little personal, I told you I've been a fan. So what was your question? I don't want to take all the time.
No, well, I was just thinking it's something that we talk about in our marketing a lot is how do we make our customers successful, and having that point of view in your marketing that you're not supposed to be the star of the show, they're supposed to be the star of the show is really important to us. I think, I heard you say that you suggest that business owners focus on the top 20%. For someone who's like not convinced about that and they're thinking, I'll take any customer, warm body and available credit card, what would you say?
I get the allure of that. What I would suggest is that until you really do this exercise of ranking your customers, of maybe interviewing 8 to 10 of your best customers and understanding the problem you really solve for them, my contention will be that you'll never get good at anything. You'll never build any true momentum. Now, obviously, that's a huge generalization, but I've seen it when people can narrow their focus. And this isn't just about identifying the best customers. Quite frankly, a huge part of this conversation is about identifying who you actually can provide the most value to, because that's really what makes a great customer relationship. We always are focused on what are the demographics and the psychographics of the customers that we can attract. But I'd like to also inject that a part of that equation, that top 20%, is not necessarily revenue. That might be one of the parts of the equation, but the other is who can you deliver the most value to? And I'll take it a step further. When I consider somebody, who can I deliver the most value to the fastest? Because I know that that's going to be a good relationship. I know that they're going to be happy. I know that they're going to talk about how happy they are. But frankly, I feel really good about the fact that I know that this is somebody I can help. When somebody comes to me sometimes and I'm like, yeah, I'll take your money, but not a whole lot I can do for you. Right. I mean, well, I'm not going to judge anyone for doing anything, but I don't like doing that.
Well, that was a good point because I was going to ask that question about we automatically think the best customers are the ones that have the deepest pockets or give us the most money. And what you just said is so true. Carrie says, she's talking earlier, strategy is so important, but it's tough. It really is tough. Yes. And this is great. Urbana says, buying your book stat. So everyone should go buy John's book stat. And, we've been teasing this all the time, but you can go to bit.ly/get John's book to go to that landing page to get set up for that. So very, very cool.
I'm going to get real bossy because I think you should go buy John's book. I think you should try to use the word psychographic in any conversational opportunity you have. Just like the next 24 hours, work it in. You're at the gym, you lean over, you're like, this is not good for me psychographically, whatever. And then the third thing is you should definitely stick around because we have something that we've developed in response to some customer feedback. And we are trying to figure out if it's something that will help people succeed. So
we also have a blog post about all this stuff too, about some of the things we're talking about today. So if you'd like a blog post that our amazing people over at Tailwind have put together, you can go to bit.ly/build great customers. We're talking about all this stuff today, and I think some of them are actually in the comments right now. But this is really exciting stuff. And so, I know we have a lot of small businesses, a lot of solopreneurs here, and let's talk about what a customer success track is and how some of these smaller businesses because a lot of times the smaller businesses feel a little bit left out of the loop on some things. So how can a smaller business develop a success track that is right size for them?
So, yeah. So the first step really is to take a good hard look at who you serve today. This top 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Typically speaking, you are attracting customers in the same stage with the same problems and same characteristics. That's not always true, but I know in our case, we do marketing strategy, marketing consulting. A lot of customers come to us and their website's not converting. They don't have that much content. SEO is a mess. They're all over the place. So that's somebody that we call in the foundational stage. So after doing this for many, many years, I developed not only the stages that people are coming to us in, but when we've had successful engagements, we've matured their marketing. We've moved them to where they can actually now effectively use social media to sell, for example, because they now have the right message and they're targeting the right folks and they're on the right platform. So the idea behind this is, what would the maturity model, if we can use that term, for your business look like? We have 5 stages in ours, and we're able to define the characteristics. I can tell you what somebody's probably experiencing in each of those stages. I can tell you the challenges they're facing. And furthermore, I can tell you the promise that they can experience if we move them to the next stage. Now, I'm not saying you're going to wake up one day and go, I've got this all mapped out. This took me a lot of years to develop. And if you get the ultimate marketing engine and you'll ultimately get the resources that come along with it, you've got the full marketing roadmap. I have got it completely documented for you. And the best part is, because I transfer this knowledge to a lot of people, we also identified all of the milestones that it takes to move somebody out of that stage into the next stage. And the beauty of a milestone is it's not an ethereal question. Mm-hmm. It is a yes or no answer. So we don't ask as a milestone, is the website effective? Well, I don't know. Right. How can I answer that? We ask, does the website load effectively on an iPhone, for example? That's either yes or no. If it does, yes, move on. If no, here are the tasks that we have to accomplish in order for that milestone to work. Now, as I said, I have developed this entire roadmap of customer success track that we use and have used for years for maturing a company's marketing. But my real goal, my stretch goal in this is that I believe this thinking can be applied to just about any business in any industry. The starting place is, where are your best? Could you map the stage for your best customers today? Could you map what they're experiencing? And if you've worked with them and taken them up a notch, or you've retained that customer, so you're doing something with them that they're seeing a result from, what would that next stage and that next stage need to look like? This is not something that you're going to do in an hour. This is something I'd love to sit in a room with you for 2 days and workshop, because it might take that kind of focus. But I do think that it's achievable, and that's if I have a mission for this book, that's my mission.
Awesome. So you mentioned those roadmaps or guideposts that you check every once in a what is the frequency? Is it like you do that every month, or do you do it every quarter? What do you usually suggest for businesses to go back and look at that, and then if they need to adjust or move those goals?
Right. So we're using it actually as a service tool. I mean, it's not just something that we have on paper somewhere and it's locked away, as some good strategic thinking. We are actually analyzing those checklists, those milestones. We happen to have a monthly cadence with our clients, and then a quarterly, big, planning cadence, and then obviously an annual one. But we are almost constantly monitoring and the checklist. And the beauty of using these milestones is it actually becomes how we train. It actually becomes how we document. And so various people in our organization now are using this tool on the client's behalf as well. So we're all kind of pulling in the same direction. It's actually become, in a lot of ways, it's become not only how we hire and train and certainly message, because now we're talking about a long-term roadmap, not just a project with a client, but it's actually become the mission for our business to take a client from where they are today to where they want to go.
Awesome. So we have some questions, and you guys, we've got John just for a few more minutes during this hour time. So make sure you ask them, because this is you've got him here in the spotlight. So Don't waste this opportunity. But we do have a good question. This is from Lorena. She goes, question, what do you do if your client wants to break a 3-month contract? And this goes back to what you're talking about, like who, getting the good clients and how do you rank them and trying to get your best ones. Do you automatically say, okay, that's going to be a problem client, I'm going to drop him down? Or how do you rank it if somebody this is a great question. What do you do if somebody wants to break a contract with you?
Yeah. So first point I want to make there is a great one is we're constantly evaluating what are the characteristics. We're learning at all times. It's easy for me to say, this is our defining characteristics, but we're learning, all the time and we're growing as well. So constantly reevaluating. I mean, what do you do if a client wants to break a 3-month contract? I suppose you have a decision to make. Right. I mean, obviously one decision would be how protected are you, how guaranteed are you, how much litigation do you want to throw yourself into. The other is, and this is just my point of view, probably about life in general, move on, find a better client. That wasn't a great engagement, but it's a bummer. I'm be the first to tell you.
Now, it is a psychographic opportunity as well, because you can find out. I mean, I hate it when a client cancels. I don't want to sound harsh about the impact of that, but adding that research to what you're looking at. Why are they canceling? What was their interaction with you like? In the month before, did you notice any fall off in their engagement with your products or things like that? You can maybe use it as a learning opportunity, although probably inexpensive one.
Well, and I'll tell you another place to analyze too is sometimes clients that we thought were going to be a good fit and didn't. I mean, go back and look at the education process. How were they taught what to expect? How were they onboarded? And again, I'm not saying that there's necessarily any holes in that, but a lot of times that's what it really is somehow you didn't communicate the right, or they didn't get the right expectation for what was going to happen. A lot of times when people, if somebody comes to us and says, oh, I hear you do X, when can you start? And we haven't really taught them, well, here's how we work. Here's what's a little different about what we do. Here's what you can expect. Here's what we expect of you. I think a lot of times if we don't take that step, and that's built into the know, like, and trust, part of that, how we attract ideal clients is we teach people how to be ideal or what ideal looks like. And so often if we're not attracting enough of those ideal clients, it's something about your education process up front.
Yeah, I've noticed. I mean, I've had clients that I thought, one, they were not very good clients, and we ended up parting ways. But I've been in the business long enough that they've come back and they've become great clients. And it could have been a personal issue. I grew up with the thing is like, don't burn any bridges unless you have to. Unless it's like they took something from you or you ripped you off or something like that. There's always opportunity later. You just never know what's going on. And so I've had some really great clients come out of stuff that I thought like, these guys are jerks. I don't ever want to deal business with them, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So, Susan, did you have some more questions before I move on to some other things? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wondered if you could unpack a little bit where social media marketing, like using Pinterest or Instagram or Facebook, might fit with the ultimate marketing engine.
Well, so I talk about content as the voice of strategy. And so I put a lot of the activity that we do in social media as content. Now, content to me is a very, very big bucket. It's content's images, it's video, it's an email subject line, it's blog posts, and so it's a very all-encompassing idea. But the reason I like to think about it as content is it's also part of how we guide the customer journey. That's really what content does for us if used effectively. And I think a lot of people tend to look at content and social media as purely as tactics. And if we look at them strategically and understand that in those 7 stages that I unpacked earlier of the marketing hourglass, that the people's questions and objectives and goals change at every one of those stages. Somebody who doesn't know how to solve their problem, or maybe doesn't really even know what their problem is looking for different answers, is looking for different content. So we have to adjust our content based on what we believe they're looking for when they start their journey. Now, somebody who is now trying to decide, are you the right fit for me? Are you the right solution for me? We're trying to understand, can I trust you, or what can I do to try you? They need to hear different messages. They need to see different forms of content. And then to me, the most underused forms of content come after somebody becomes a customer. What are we doing to collect their success stories on social media? What are we doing to use social media to have them voluntarily and willingly spread the good news about how awesome you are? What are we doing even with social media, targeted social media, which you obviously can do in both paid, probably less than organic, but maybe in groups and things like that, you can do it, very exclusively. But what are we doing to teach them how to get more out of our products or services, or what else we're doing? And so my whole point is, obviously every business is going to be different. What platforms make sense to them have to do with where their best customers are. But thinking strategically about what our objectives are in all of the content, and pinning that, no pun intended, pinning that objective to moving people through some stage of the journey I think is the best way to start. And here's the good news. I think it can actually allow you to create less content because it'll be more useful.
Awesome.
See, that's such a great point. And, if you check out the bit.ly link to bit.ly, /create great customers, one of the things that we are doing there is talking about how Facebook, how Pinterest, how Instagram all fit in terms of a customer journey. We're looking specifically at awareness and retention and all of those things when it comes to social. So that's certainly a great resource if you're beginning to think about what John calls the customer ecosystem a little bit, and how to use social media in all of those contexts.
Mm-hmm. John, I wanted to ask a question. We talked about some of the social platforms like Pinterest, Facebook, and Instagram and all those. But I know you have a podcast as well. So how does that fit into, because I think there's all these YouTube channels, and then you think about podcasts, they're even smaller. And a lot of times I think it's easier to break in as a podcast than some of the other places online for companies. What are your thoughts on podcasting for businesses?
Well, there again, I'm very strategic and figure out objectives. If your objective to start a podcast is to rule the world and have, 10, 5, and 6-figure sponsorship deals, you've got a long haul. But if your intention to create a podcast is to have maybe a different form of content, certainly a different medium, it is to meet and network with, amazing people maybe that you want to interview. Well, let's face it, in the time of lockdowns, it's a great way to intentionally force yourself to have one-on-one conversations in some cases with folks. Somebody mentioned Seth Godin. He was one of the first people I interviewed on my podcasts back in 2005, and consequently has become a good friend and has written cover blurbs for 6 or so of my books. So it's a great way to actually, expand your network and your authority from a content standpoint. Maybe it actually will generate some customers as well. But another way to look at podcasting without thinking in terms of how do I build this giant audience is that, let's say in your community, you coach mid-sized business CEOs. That's your business model. Well, go out and identify the top 50 mid-sized business CEOs in your community and start asking them one by one to be on your podcast. Here's what's going to happen. First off, you're going to create amazing content. Amazing content that is very relevant to your target audience, but you're also going to have a sort of backdoor entry to being introduced to and meeting those folks because you are now a member of the media. And had you sent them an email and said, hey, I'd like to pick your brain for 20 minutes and see if there's any synergies between what we do. Right. Please don't ever say that. Please don't ever say that.
No,
But instead of saying that, you said, I would like to profile your company on my podcast. You are going to get a percentage of them that are willingly going to have a 20 or 30-minute conversation with you. Now, you're not going to sell in that, but you are going to have a contact now who is probably going to be at least more interested, maybe taking a look at what your business does because they've had a self-interest in doing so. So that's one way that I tell every small business to look at podcasting. It can be a great content. It can be great for raising your exposure. It can maybe even be great for generating leads. But if you look at it as a way to connect, you will put in the time to do it.
Oh, see, that's worth the price of admission right now, right there, folks, right there. And in fact, that's what we do here is we get to interview people. It goes out as live video. We can chop it up. It becomes a blog post. It becomes,
Right.
a podcast. All the things you can do with 1 hour with somebody asking them awesome questions. Couple, some comments. Melissa says, content as the voice of strategy. Love that. So yeah, that is a great quote. And Carrie says, my husband just reminded me yesterday that repeat customers are important. They don't cost much and can help you find new customers. Yes, very, very true. And this is a good question.
Greatest source of lead generation is a happy customer.
Yes. And in fact, so social media, back to that little thing we were talking about, is I made comments, this is way back in the Google Plus days, on Peg Fitzpatrick's post. We became friends and throughout the years, and now I'm producing Guy Kawasaki's podcast because of her referral and recommendation. And I mean, so everything matters. So just all that stuff matters. But Tegan asked this question, when making content, what kinds of questions do you focus on? What kind of questions do you focus your content creation around? I thought that was a great one.
Okay, well, I'm at the risk of sounding like a smart aleck. The obvious one is, what questions are people asking you? And I work with a lot of software companies over the years, and when content became a big deal, they started saying, we're hiring marketers to create content. We don't know anything about really how the stuff works. We're not technical enough to write the content. And I would always advise them, go look at your customer service or your engineers. In a lot of cases, email sent inbox, or how do you say that? Their sent box. Is that what you say in their email? Because they're answering questions all the time. And there's probably a great amount of those questions get asked repeatedly. So that's, it sounds like the obvious thing, but that's the first thing. What questions are people, salespeople, customer service people getting asked frequently? There's a couple of search engines that have cropped up lately. One that I like to recommend all the time is called Answer the Public. And you can go to Answer the Public and put in some queries or even topics, and it will actually start surfacing questions people are asking about those topics. Obviously, Quora is one that's very established and been around for quite a while, and that's a question site where a lot of people, the beauty of Quora, of course, is not only people answering questions, sometimes people have brilliant answers for those questions, and you can creatively emulate their answers.
So, Susan, do you have any more questions? Because I have a final one for John, but I wanted to
go right ahead.
Okay, so I thought I heard this on a podcast the other day, and I thought it was a genius question to ask somebody. It's like, what question did we not ask you that you wish we would have done?
Ooh, that's a good one.
So that is an old journalism.
Right.
To anybody they teach journalism to in school, that's how you're supposed to end every interview. And my problem is I just show up and blab, and so I say everything, even if you didn't ask me. I'm gonna say that. So I never have a good answer for that. So I'll say the thing that you should have. I know the thing that you should have asked me is, gosh, John's book doesn't come out till September 21st. That's a long time. Is there any way that we could get some a head start if we pre-ordered that book now?
That's a great question.
And to that, John would say, well, I'm glad you asked that, because if you go to theultimatemarketingengine.com, you'll see a big tab there that says, get the companion course. And if you pre-order the book today, you will be able to come back immediately and get access to a 6-lesson video course that actually has some of the worksheets and tools for you to do things like create your Hourglass. And I will tell you that when you do get the book September 21st from whatever bookseller you buy from, you're also going to find that we've built a treasure trove of resources, because this is stuff we do and have developed for our clients. And I'm going to give you all the tools and checklists and templates and worksheets for every lesson.
Awesome.
See, I love that. That is so great. And just showing a lot of empathy for us there. We're talking about this book. You're helping with our customer journey here by anticipating our needs. I appreciate that.
Well, yes. I appreciate being asked.
Yeah. So and Trona says we were talking about questions. She has also used the people also ask section in Google. That's a gold mine of content. That's great as well. So make sure you guys go and get John's book. Is there any other place? Is it all like if they want to see your podcast, all that stuff? Is it all? What's the best place to find that?
Yeah. So the ultimatemarketingengine.com is all about the book. But if you want to see what I've been doing for the last couple decades, you can find that at Duct Tape Marketing, and that's DUCTTAPE marketing.com.
Did you register duct tape with the duck just to make sure to get that?
Go ahead and try it, Jeff.
Okay, I was wondering.
See
That's
where it
awesome.
takes you.
No. We're not going to do any live Google searches here.
Exactly. That's awesome.
No,
Well, John, we want to thank you
I
so
did,
much.
and it redirects to my site. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, we want to thank you so much for your time today. Everything that you've done. Big fan. Everybody, go buy. Just not one of his books. Buy all his books. They're all good. I'm rereading the revised edition of Duct Tape Marketing right now because it's just got so much good stuff on there. And so, a lot of people thought it was duct tape for a long time, as they're saying. And your podcast name is Duct Tape Marketing as well, if they want to search in Apple.
It is. So you'll find it at the site for sure. I've been doing that since 2005. So if you want to go through some 1,247 episodes or so, you can.
That is some old school stuff there. So, John, thank you so much. We'll let you go because we're going to do a demo, and we don't want you to have to stick around for that. So, appreciate you and your time, and thank you so much for being here. We'll see you later.
Take care. Thanks,
right,
everybody.
bye.
Thanks, John.
All right, we've been teasing this. Isn't this fun? I mean, gosh,
I know. I'm so excited.
I know.
I want to show this thing off. We've been thinking about it all
I know.
day.
I was excited when we finally, I've been seriously a secret stalker for him for a long time. I'm glad he came on and didn't know that. But we've been teasing this the entire time. But don't forget about this awesome blog post that Susan mentioned earlier at bit.ly.
Actually, a webinar. Just want to be clear on that.
It's a webinar. I'm sorry. It's a webinar at bit.ly/build great customers. Go check that out. You're going to find tons of info in there. And so go check that out. Melissa says, she goes, I realized I read the referral engine and didn't connect the name. So you see, we got the author on. How cool is that? So, but we're going to tease this thing. I'm going to play this video, and Susan is going to kind of walk us through everything. And
before you play it, let me just set the stage.
Set it up.
Okay. So this is something that our engineers have just developed. They just do these amazing things. And the idea is that it's to help e-commerce store owners to portray their products in a way that is on brand for their store. And sometimes that can be difficult because of maybe taking a product with one background and you want to put it on another background. So this is so new and so hot off the presses, it doesn't even have a name. So we're just going to refer to this as the product yet to be named.
Should we have the people in the comments, after they see it, maybe suggest names?
Ooh,
I just threw an audible right there. We'll just see.
I like it. We need a name for this thing, and we also need some people to try it out. So if this feels like it might scratch an itch for you, just let us know in the comments. I want access, or give me the thing that needs a name, or we're pretty good at reading between the lines on those comments. So let us know and take a look at this. I will walk you through the demo.
Okay, here we go. I'm playing it right now.
So the first thing you're going to do is enter your Shopify or Etsy URL. Give us a second. We're going to go find pictures of your products and wait for it. Something exciting is happening right now. Ta-da! On the left are the products which had a very specific background. On the right, we pulled the products out. Why would we do that? Well, here's the really cool part. You pull them into Tailwind Create. You put them on whatever background template you want. You can change the product image by month. You can put a Christmas tree back there, whatever. You give it a title, a pinned description. I'm demonstrating this with the Pinterest version. We'll also have this available for Instagram and Facebook. And we put in that product URL because we want people to be able to buy our wooden spoon set, now displayed on a beautiful ombre template, whereas before it was very plain looking. And now we go and schedule. Done. Isn't it a great thing that needs a name?
That is
I
so.
love that.
Don't use wooden spoon in the name. That won't count. So you've got to figure out something fun.
No.
Carrie goes, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to try this." Kristen says she's just
Get
here
it
for
to you,
the
Carrie.
we're here for the Christmas tree spoon. So let us know if you would like to try this. So I want to just let's walk through it one more time. So what you do is you put your URL of your shop or your Etsy store in, and it comes into Create. It takes away the background so you can use it on your Create pins, and then you can go straight from there and schedule into your Tailwind scheduler. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you may have a product that's a great seller and you have had this image of it for a really long time, but maybe the feel or the aesthetic of your store has changed. And you can go and hire someone and do that photo shoot again if you want, or you can grab the tool that must be named, strip out the background, and drop it onto a branded template and Create in just the time you saw there. Done. So hire a photographer, spend a day shooting products of your wooden spoons, or try the tool that must not be named. No, it needs to be named. Yeah.
Yes, it needs to be named. So, post haste. That's not a bad name.
Ooh,
That's good from David.
like
Dave says
it.
post haste. That's a good one. So, or else he wants it. Maybe that he's just saying, give it to me now. Post haste.
I know.
So
That
could be.
that works.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments if you'd like this. If you happen to watch us on replay, go ahead and ask also, because they'll be monitoring this stream. And I like Lorena's background removal thingy. That's all.
Right?
I love it. I think that's amazing.
And just among us, people think marketing is easy, but we have to name all the things.
Yeah.
And we have to name them in ways that you can say them on like voice search. It's just, it's hard to name the things.
That's true. So, and it says invisibility cloak tail. That's good.
Ooh,
That's pretty funny.
like that.
Yes. So thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, John. If you have suggestions from us, we're always here. If you have people that you would like to have on the show, if you want to have specific topics you want us to talk about, let us know down below. We thank you guys so much for being here with us today. Do not forget the amazing webinar that we have at bit.ly/build great customers. And don't forget about John's book that he was saying, all this freebie stuff you get if you pre-order. So make sure you guys go there, check that out. He was an awesome guest, super smart. I figured you guys could tell that already. But, so happy that he was with us today. We thank you guys for being here. All these people are coming on saying, I want to try it. So, Carrie, thank you for being here today. We appreciate all you guys, and we will see you next time. Susan, I'll let you have the last word.
Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Love seeing all your names in the comments. And we will get in touch with you about the background remover, invisibility, cloak, tail, post haste product thingy. And I just want to say thanks to the engineers who put it together in such a timely way. And they do a lot of hard work, and we appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys. See you later.
Bye.